So here's a story that I've heard of recently and saw something about on Paranoid Times not Facebook, YouTube page. Is this East Asian tick that's now confirmed in the second NJ County? And this is what it looks like. Gertie, huh? The East Asian tick shown here before and after feeding. So, before, after, has been discovered in Union County. An exotic species of tick that survived the winter in Hunterdon County has now been found in another part of New Jersey. The East Asian tick, also known as longhorn tick or the bush tick, was found on the Watchung Reservation in Union County, the New Jersey Department of Agriculture announced Wednesday. The tick was collected at the site last May, but identification was not made until Monday. The Watchung Reservation is about 40 miles from the Hunterdon County farm where the tick was found last August. The tick was identified as the East Asian tick in November. It is still unknown how the tick, which was not previously known to exist in the United States, made it to New Jersey. It was found by a farmer who was shearing a sheep on an unidentified Hunterdon County farm. The sheep, you look at that picture. The sheep had never traveled internationally, as I don't think most sheep do, and has rarely left Hunterdon County, according to Andrea Egazes, I can't say her last name, a tick specialist at Mammoth County Tick-Borne Disease Lab. Look at those ticks! Oh my goodness! That is crazy. I can see the big ones, but they are all over. Even like the tiny ones. Because I saw that these ticks can be, sorry about that, these ticks can be the size of like a poppy seed. And that is really small. So you really got to check yourself for ticks. Like, have somebody else look at it. I mean, ticks are pretty well known in New Jersey. We have a lot of forests and, woods areas. And despite what a lot of people think, ticks don't come from trees or, higher levels. They come from the ground. They actually crawl up you. A lot of people find ticks in their heads, or like when I was a child, there was one in my ear, like attached somewhere in my ear that they found. I was like 4 years old, and I lived in Philadelphia at the time, and they had to pull it out with tweezers and burn it. So these things are vicious. And being that they can be the size of a poppy seed, you wouldn't even notice them. And until they become engorged like you see here. And that's about the size of the ones I found on my head growing up as a teenager around here. The bigger ones on the sheep's ears. So that's there we go. That's pretty big. And what you'll feel is like this itch. And then you'll go to scratch the itch, and then you'll feel this big bump, and you're like, what is this? And not knowing, like I did as a teenager, pulled it out through like a strand of my hair, take a look, and it's like its little legs are flailing, it's got a piece of my flesh in its mouth with blood, and it's just horrible. But at least I know I had its head, because its head can go through your bloodstream, and that's really bad. Or if you don't get the head will still be attached to wherever it bit, and you'll just pull off the body, and the body can regrow. So that's one of the another problem with it. It has more time to be on your body. The longer it's on you, the increased risk of you getting diseases from the tick. Okay, I'll go back to reading. The Department of Agriculture said that several local, state, and federal animal health officials, as well as Rutgers University, are working together to identify the range of the ticks and develop a plan to eliminate them from the Watchung Reservation. County park that is over 2,000 acres in size, that includes a public stable and a nature center. Officials will continue to monitor Hunterdon County as well, where steps were taken. Okay, I thought so. There's an error here. It says we're taken. Somebody should really like edit articles better. I've seen that yesterday. Same problem. There was like a word that wasn't a word. Like there's two O's and to eradicate the insect from the farm by using chemical wash on the sheep and removing tall grass where they are known to dwell. Department of Agriculture officials are saying that it is Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service team and the New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife are examining white-tailed deer near Hunterdon County Farm after confirmed that the East Asian tick was found on one on April 24th. The deer was first examined on April 19th, and now the first finding of the tick feeding on the wildlife. Although the ticks are known to carry diseases such as spotted fever, I don't know that word, in other parts of the world, tests performed on the ticks and the farm animals in Hunterdon County were negative for the disease. The Department of Agriculture did not say if the ticks found in Union County carried any disease, which is a bunch of BS. They are known to swarm and infest a variety of wildlife, as well as humans, dogs, cats, and livestock. Authorities are asking people to contact state veterinarian at 609-671-6400 to see if they see any unusual ticks on their livestock. Now, we know that you can get Lyme's disease from ticks, but these ticks are special. And let me grab something here. And I'm going to say like this article from yesterday. These ticks are definitely different. So this article as of yesterday, that article was obviously from like a couple months ago. So this one is saying that they are self-cloning ticks, which means that they do not need a partner. The females don't need a male, and they can create colonies all by themselves, which is pretty crazy. Much more of a deadlier threat. And what wasn't mentioned in the other article is that they did find populations present in Australia, New Zealand, and obviously Asia. Now, the oddest thing is that they're found here in New Jersey, which is, out of all the states, you figure maybe like a Hawaii or California, somewhere closer to, the Asian continent. Not New Jersey, because we're on the opposite side. We're closer to England and such. Not just England, Ireland, Europe, and Africa. So they say that the tick was first discovered feeding on a sheep, which we saw. Despite treating the sheep and surrounding fields with pesticides, to contain the infestation, it survived the winter, and reappeared in the spring. Surveillance effort brought by our team confirmed that the tick was present in Union County earlier this year, and the New Jersey population clonal, which is, I guess, how they say, when they clone and they're a cluster. It underscores the invasion nature of this new pest and challenges we face trying to control it. Similar to the deer tick, the immature larvae and nymphs of the longhorn tick are very small, similar to a poppy and sesame seed, respectively, and are easily overlooked by both animals and people. Well, I can't imagine that animals are looking for the tick. In Asia, the longhorn tick feeds preferentially on livestock, wild animals like deer, bear, and foxes, among others. Though less frequent, also bites pets such as cats and dogs, as well as people. Now here's the problem. Spreading fatal disease. Epidemics of vector-borne pathogens have risen dramatically in recent years, as we have witnessed in the introduction of Zika and West Nile viruses in the United States, Crimea, Congo, hemorrhagic fever in southwestern Europe, and the continuous emergence of Lyme disease throughout the northeast in the United States and Central Europe. Ticks are the most important vectors for infectious disease in the northern hemisphere, and second worldwide after mosquitoes. Thus, the introduction of the invasive species in a new habitat is worrisome. In Asian and Australian, the tick is known to transmit disease to livestock, including protozoans. I can't pronounce all that. Which cause anemia, lethargy, and occasional abortions. Okay. I figure that'd be miscarriages. In addition, unaffected longhorn ticks can endanger the animal's health since in large numbers, their constant blood-sucking causes anemia, loss of productivity, and occasionally the death of calves. Let me see. They're also, and this is something that I didn't see, is they're also found on mice. And field mice go into houses and make them a threat to any population. Like, let's play this and maybe we'll learn.
The arrival of spring is a most welcome sight to many of us, but it also brings a serious health problem: ticks. They can lead to Lyme disease in humans, which can be a serious chronic condition. Many suburban areas are trying to figure out just how to deal with an increasing number of ticks, which some blame on the growing population of deer in the U.S. Researchers are enlisted in this battle as well. Miles O'Brien has the story for our weekly segment on the leading edge of science. And a warning, some of the images in this story might disturb some viewers.
This English manor in the woods near Boston is Denny and Wynne Swenson's dream house.
You ready? Let's go, come on!
When they moved here 10 years ago, they were thrilled to see a lot of deer.
And it was so exciting because they're such beautiful animals. They seemed harmless. Wow, we felt like we had arrived.
But today she is more than a little wary of the deer. In fact, she believes controlling their numbers is the only practical way to stem the spread of Lyme disease. Humans are infected with Lyme from tick bites, and ticks like to feed on deer.
There's a trail there that the deer love.
This is deer country here?
Yeah, tons of deer.
The state says there are about 85 deer per square mile in the adjacent 7,000-acre Blue Hills Reservation. 10 per square mile is considered a density that could reduce the spread of Lyme. Deer were hunted nearly to extinction a century ago in the U.S. Today, thanks to legal protection and regulated harvests, the deer herd nationwide has exploded to more than 30 million. This creates a host of problems, including more than 1 million deer-car collisions each year in the United States. Suburbia offers the perfect habitat for deer to flourish. No human hunters or animal predators, and a bounty of food.
They're coming all the way up to the front door to eat. They're really hungry, so they kind of need the rhododendrons as much as I do.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the drive-through.
Yeah, this is the drive-through for them, yeah.
Lyme is an infectious disease caused by a bacterium transmitted to humans by the bite of infected black-legged ticks. Symptoms often begin with a distinctive bullseye rash and evolve into various neurological problems, including facial palsy, severe headaches, muscular aches, and sensitivity to light. Without antibiotic treatment, Lyme disease can lead to permanent motor, sensory, and cognitive impairment. It is the most common tick-borne disease in the Northern Hemisphere. There are an estimated 300,000 cases a year all across the U.S. Both Denny and Wynne have had multiple cases of Lyme disease.
I know. I will never forget those headaches. I will never forget the pain sort of sweeping around my body. I felt like I was being invaded by some crazy thing.
The more she asked around, the more she got scared.
We did a neighborhood survey, and 30 households responded, and we found 30.
Pause for a second, because I thought that you couldn't be cured of Lyme disease. I thought that once you had it, you didn't get rid of it. So I'm a little confused by this, because she said she's had many cases of it. I thought once you had it, you always had it, like it was a nervous system, like it's a binder to your cells, and it can't be ratified, even with antibiotics. I mean, I don't know if that's if you catch it quick or not, but I don't know, but I do believe that it is a man-made created disease that sprung from Plum Island back in, when was that?
1940?
In the 40s? Yeah, but I'm gonna look up some more sources on that and see if I can find the origin of Lyme disease, because I really don't think it just came out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure it was a experiment, either intentionally released to the public or accidentally. But when are they accidents, right? Like HIV is.
Cases of Lyme disease.
You basically have a public health crisis here.
Yes, these are epidemic level numbers.
A former journalist, Denny Swenson, started researching. The Lyme disease bacterium lives inside white-footed mice, the so-called reservoir. Ticks that bite the mice become infected propagators or vectors of Lyme. She quickly concluded reducing the population of mice or the ticks themselves using chemicals is neither practical nor prudent for the environment. But what about targeting deer?
There's no animal as abundant as deer in these habitats, and these ticks do seem to like deer.
Sam Telford is a professor of infectious disease and global health at Tufts University's Cummings School of Veterinary Medicine. We met at a hunter inspection station during deer season in Webster, Massachusetts, 60 miles southwest of Boston.
About the graphics, guys. I'm not fancy.
If I were to be here 20 years ago at this check station, I could look all day and maybe find 2 or 3 ticks. Now, in the course of 2 hours, we've gotten probably 50 ticks off a deer.
Fortunately for the deer, they are not susceptible to Lyme disease. Telford's fieldwork might make you squirm a little bit. He harvests thousands of ticks to study later in his laboratory. Lyme is just one of more than a dozen human diseases and infections spread by ticks. They are by far the biggest disease vector in the U.S. Telford showed me a tube filled with 2 fully engorged female deer ticks.
Those are fully fed.
These are fully fed.
That's all blooded there, right?
That's the end result of feeding for 7 days. Each one of those will lay 2,000 eggs.
Whoa.
So even though mice might be the Lyme disease bacterium reservoir, Telford believes controlling the deer population is the key.
If you were trying to intervene to try to control the force of transmission of the agent of Lyme disease, what do you go after? Something small or something that's far more limited in numbers but produce the ticks?
In the late 1980s, he ran an experiment.
Well, my question about this whole thing is that, okay, even if you do dwindle down the deer population, wouldn't that make the ticks go after larger prey? And, like they say, bears and such, because I do see that, okay, yeah, I take down the deer population and that could help, or that should help, but then there's still ticks, especially this Asian tick that's self-replicating. It doesn't need a necessary, like, a deer host or anything like that. It doesn't need a male mate. It does what it does, and so it's kind of strange to me that they're going from, going to the deer specifically, when you see that mice are like the vectors of the Lyme disease, which seems to be, like they said, that deers don't get it. So deer, not deers, deer don't get it. Let me continue reading here. So this newer tick, the Asian tick, has been associated with human pathogens including anaplasma. I'm going to try my best to read these. Fagok. It's like reading the back of a cereal box. Cytophilum, I guess. Spotted fever, rickettsia, and Borrelia SPP. I don't know what that is. These ticks also carry viruses including, okay, you're going to give me some more big words. Powassan virus, which has a high fatality rate of up to 10% Of those who survive, 50% experience permanent brain injury and SFTS virus, severe fever with thrombotic, I don't know, syndrome, which causes a word, and severe fever with that, a shortage of blood clotting platelets. Although tick-borne pathogens are generally tick-specific, the fact that these ticks have been associated with anaplasma and Powassan virus, which are present in New Jersey, raises the question of whether they can acquire and transmit these diseases locally. So far, there are no documented incidents of them transmitting human pathogens, and there is no evidence that they represent a public health risk. Not yet, right? You know? Like it says, no new control in sight. Ticks are extremely hard to control. Effective develop new control methods have always been falling short. The best way to protect ourselves is by using tick repellent and checking ourselves for attached ticks after outdoor activity. Now, about that whole tick repellent part, I guess it's I guess it kind of helps, but these bugs are becoming more and more resistant as fleas have become, which also spread diseases. Bed bugs have become, again, spread diseases. Head lice have become, spread diseases, I think. So, you know, you can only slap on like an antibiotic, more or less, until these, you know, parasites become highly resistant to them and they become super bugs. Like, there used to be just lice, now there's super lice, super bed bugs. These things are getting out of control. And how do you control it? I don't have any idea. So, right, that's the state we're in right now. And, you know, these ticks, they're scary. And not only, I mean, I'm not quite sure where I heard this at. I want to recheck it. But I did hear that spiders and mosquitoes are also beginning to carry Lyme disease, which means that a regular mosquito bite or a spider bite can also give you Lyme disease. And that's kind of scary that these diseases are becoming transmittable into other species without a real reason for it to be so. I don't understand how that happened. We had Lyme disease for so long, and now it's managed to jump species, which means that it has to be a different form, because it can't be the same exact form. It has to have taken on a different structure altogether, cellular structure. So that's kind of, you know, that's definitely scary. I mean, I know some, you know, something is definitely different. The animals are acting strange. I mean, deer have been coming up to people. Squirrels have been coming up to people. It's just not normal. Birds have been even coming into places and houses and such. And animals that aren't normally, you know, they're more afraid of humans. They're becoming less afraid of us and more like they're coming up to us to like say like, hey, can you help? Because something's wrong. I mean, deer have went from being mainly herbivores to omnivores, where you can catch a deer eating a squirrel now. I mean, that's kind of freaky. Like, the whole system is changing. The whole ecosystem of this world is changing. And I know, like, the grand solar minimum and, you know, whatever else is going on, these things attribute to survival of species and the change of species. Like, you know, there was just brown bears, and then brown bears that couldn't, you know, live by the ice caps. You know, gradually they turn white, they become that. Or, you know, man has created dog through wolves by changing wolves so many times, you know, making them into a guardian and also like a side hunter to help man advance. So, you know, I mean, I guess all this is happening for a reason. What that reason is, I don't know. Yeah, it's scary, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what is to come of everything, but yeah, I just want to keep recording this stuff, keep track of this stuff, and keep bringing you guys some information as it comes my way. And I know my videos are kind of long, I do kind of ramble, so if that totally bothers you, please don't hesitate to tell me. I like criticism, you know, constructive criticism. So if you you have any suggestions of videos, or you want to give me some feedback, that'd be awesome. It'd be really great if you guys sub, you know, click the bell, double click obviously, because YouTube keeps playing games with the bell and your subscription box. And yeah, so hope you guys have a great weekend. You know, maybe I'll do a video on Memorial Day and what it means to me. Not sure yet. Alright, so I'll see you guys later.